Hey guys, welcome to this video about the mini super small FireTail brawler. I'm not sure what we're going to call it, but that's basically what it is. So you can see I'm using Pyfa. I'm forcing myself to get used to it. I don't like it. I wish EFT would come back because I try to look over here to the side and look for where the stats that I'm used to looking for. Like I look at the bottom for my speed and I don't see my speed, and I go, oh, it's up there, okay. Anyways, I'll get used to it. So the idea for this ship came from when I was flying a anti-frigate Thorax in my Mobile Depot video, where you saw me. It was called Mobile Depot Games, and some of the fights I didn't include in that video are where I got killed. I got swarmed by a bunch of small frigates, Atron, Slashers, and Executioners, and there was probably 6 of them or something like that. And I figured I'd be able to nuke them all because I had 2 webs and I had a tracking computer, and it was basically an anti-frig Thorax. So I thought I would be able to just kill them all really easy before they could kill me. What actually happened was I was able to kill a few of them, but some of them I just could not hit no matter what I did. Dual webbed, trying to move away from them to minimize transversal. Everything I tried, I could not track some of those small ships. And as a result, I said, well, if a ship set up specifically to track small ships and kill them can't track them, then maybe there's something worth investigating about being a super small ship that's hard to track. Now, I tried this in the past with a Wolf because the Wolf is exceptionally small. It's like 31 sig radius. It might be 32, I'm not sure. You can see my FireTail is 35. I think the smallest sig radius in the game, I think, might be the Dramiel, and that's 30. Just to give you an idea of that, if we look here, let's see if I can figure out how to make this work. So I'm gonna be a little bit rusty here showing you stuff because I don't know how Pyfa works, but I can't keep using EFT. It's just too far behind the times. Not if I'm gonna be accurate in my fittings and in my theory crafting. So where's our signature resolution? I just saw it right there. Alright, so the signature resolution, they show it differently than, I don't like that. They show it differently than in EFT. In EFT, they show the signature resolution as 40, but I guess it's 40K in EFT. That's kind of weird. Anyways, so you see over here it says signature, and it says 35, not saying 3.5. That's just weird. It's so much different than EFT. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is that you're already smaller than the signature. That should be 40, and this should be 35, and I don't understand that. But, yeah, it's just weird. Radius. Alright, whatever. So the signature resolution is, I like to think of it as, the signature resolution is how small of a target you can target. So it's like saying you can hit a basketball at 100 yards with a rifle, and that's your signature resolution. You can hit somewhere within the size of a basketball. And so if you have something the size of a soccer ball that's inside that circle, the same size circle as the basketball, there's space there that's open, and that a certain percentage of the shots are going to miss. Now, it doesn't work exactly like that in EVE. The math equation doesn't quite reflect that, but that's a good way to think about it. It's like, someone can do, in shooting it's called a grouping. Someone can do maybe a 5-inch grouping at 500 yards, let's say, and you're able to shrink your ship down to be only 1 inch, so the majority of the time they're missing. And so it's basically the same thing. Anyways, what Eve does is that it brings in movement with that. The faster you move, the more important the signature radius and signature resolution are. So the faster you are, and the faster you're transversal around the target, which is how fast you're going around them. So in a good way to think about that is transversal is always across. And if you think about a gun having to spin fast enough to keep up, then that's where you get differences in how fast you can track versus how fast a target's moving. And another way to look at that is in radians, where how many degrees can that gun turn per second versus how fast is the target moving around you per second. And if the target's moving faster than the gun can spin, then the gun can't hit you. So I'm sure you all knew that, but what this is it exploits both of those things. It exploits being small, and it exploits being super fast. 1610 with that afterburner going. You can always overload that if you're webbed to get it a little bit higher. But then a really important thing is that its agility is at 4 seconds with an afterburner on, and that's really good. Without it, it's 2.75. But with an afterburner on, let's see, yeah, it does work that way. With the afterburner on, you're going 4 seconds of align time, which means that if you orbit at 500, you're probably going to shoot out to somewhere between 1500 and 2500, somewhere in that area. And that basically means that you're going to be incredibly difficult for turrets to track. Now, drones will still track you. Medium and heavy drones will have a little bit of trouble, but light drones will still track you just fine. So this ship here, this FireTail, is meant primarily as a ship you use against other turret ships. And then the best example of this is going to be the fight that you're going to see in the next video, which is going to be me fighting against I think it was a Comrade, it might have been a Catalyst. It's been a few weeks since I did this. Either way, it was a destroyer set up to kill frigates. And it was a risk. I went into it thinking, well, this is going to be a tough fight. I don't know if I can do this. And I went into it, and what do you know? I was able to avoid almost all of his damage. And another big factor in that is the tracking disruptor. Now, I'm curious if the DDO is better. Maybe I should have that on there. I think it's because of fitting. Yeah, I think it's because of fitting I used the bomber. The bomber's only 32, and the DDO is 40. So that's an extra 8. Yeah, that's why I did it. Okay. Anyways, tracking speed script. So you're already super small, you're already super fast, and then you throw in a tracking speed script. And that means even the best tracking ships in the game are going to struggle to track you and land any shots. Which is why, if you look closely, you'll notice we have no tank. There's no tank on this ship. None. The only tank is the damage control, which gives you an effective hit points of 4.29k, 4,289. So that's your only tank, is just hit point tank. And most of those hit points are probably in your structure. Let's have a look. Yeah. So your structure is going to be 1632, and they're both 1300. So it's a little bit scary of a ship to fly, but it is pretty cheap. I think they're running like 10 million ISK or 11, 13, something like that, maybe even 9. I don't know. Does this thing tell me? Yeah, it does. 14 million ISK fully fit. So it's pretty cheap to fly, and as a ship, what's cool about this ship is that theoretically it will kill a Catalyst, Cormorant, Thrasher, Saber, Svepool. It'll destroy a Confessor, absolutely annihilate a Confessor, and on and on. So you can kind of see what's cool about it is it's got that potential, but that potential only exists when there's no drones, no missiles, and it's 1 versus 1. So where I got into trouble with this fit is I tried to take it out in a nullsec and find me a Saber or a Confessor or a Svepool, and I got blobbed. And this ship does not have a very good get away from the blob aspect to it. You've got an afterburner, which allows you to, even if you're scrammed, to probably get back to gate. But it's really not a nullsec ship. It's a faction warfare ship. And I don't think I need to explain much more about this fitting to you. It's all about speed. It's all about agility and avoiding damage. You're not tanking damage, you're avoiding damage. So with that, let's not go any further. Let's just end this video now, and I'll go ahead and talk, or I'll go ahead and show you some of the combat videos so you can see what I mean. Hey guys, welcome to the narrated fights for the FireTail. Now, I didn't get enough fights for this that I wanted, and I really kept planning on going back and getting more because I never got the fights that I really wanted. You can see here I'm looking for this Confessor, and that's the fight I wanted, was the FireTail against the Confessor, because theoretically it should be a very, very easy fight. Theoretically, so long as you can get a scram and a web on the Confessor and he's not able to stay at range from you, stay outside web range, you should kill the Confessor, orbit at 500, turn on your tracking disruptor, and just nuke him. And that's kind of what I was going for here. And I never got that fight, but I tried for it. I think a Confessor is 90% guarantee you're going to win. Svaypool is about an 80% depending on how he's fit. And in general, for most 1v1s against other ships that are turret based and have no drones and no really strong overpowering cap warfare, because that could be a problem since you're running your tracking disruptor and your afterburner, barring those things, this ship's very powerful. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so I'm scanning down the Confessor, and I thought I had him to there. I had 5 degrees, so I start to warp. And you see what I did right there? I went ahead and overloaded, or primed to overload. Looks like I may have just missed him. Primed to overload my tracking disruptor. And the reason I do that is because it overloads for quite a while. So especially early in the fight, you want to try to just avoid as many of his shots as possible. And since the overload is... I'm still thinking that he's here, but you can see he's not. But since the overload isn't, since it affects the effectiveness, the amount of tracking disruption, it's really nice. So you can become even harder to hit. And you can overload for like a minute or something. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward a little bit and just see where the fight actually begins, because I kind of know more about this, what's actually going to happen here. And I don't think the fight actually happens until a few more minutes in. I'm still trying to find that Confessor. And I've got him at 5 AU, but I don't have him at 1 AU. So I just keep waiting. I'm sitting inside the small here, so Confessor can get into a small, but not a novice. And here's an Atron on scan. Atron's at 1 AU, so I'm getting ready for the fight. My way of getting ready for the fight is turn on the afterburner and switch to the proper ammo. Anytime you're fighting against a Galante frigate, you want to go with explosive ammo. So that would be the Fusion. And yeah, so if it's shield, usually EM or thermal, depending, usually EM, EMP. And then for any kind of Atron, Incursus, Tristan, Catalyst, as we'll see, with the explosive damage is going to be better. So now I'm just waiting for this guy to come in. There he is. So I've got my everything ready. Basically, I just need to try to approach first. You're going to be able to approach before you lock. So focus on approaching first, then lock. Once you see you're going to your orbit, or orbit first, my bad. Orbit 500 and quit working on the lock. Now once you get your lock and you're at a good range, then it's time to go ahead and overload. And I'm having some hiccups here in the video, and I'm sorry for that. They must have been when I was recording. My recorder must have messed up. But you can see how quickly I killed that guy. It was actually a little bit absurd. And this next video, let me see here. Yeah, this, again, you see easy. It was very easy against the Executioner. So I'm going to skip to this pretty quick because this isn't really going to help you much beyond knowing that it can. The Executioner is another very small ship. that's capable of, good afterburner speed. It's small size, usually tracks pretty well. I'm not sure if it has a tracking bonus or not, but it's another very small, quick ship that's hard to dictate range on. I can fight Incursus and Executioner. I can fight either one. Fighting both at the same time is not ideal, but it'd be a fun fight if I got it. It doesn't look like the Executioner is still on scan. I mean the Incursus. So go ahead and fight this guy here. Remember, you always want to try to get DPS on the target first. Whoever gets DPS on target first gets the advantage. So just at 1 second on target could actually mean the difference between winning and losing the fight. Not in this one. No. And then let's save the best for last, because those two were real easy. So small against the Comrade. I thought it was a Catalyst, so I'm wrong. Not sure why I thought it was a Catalyst. Alright, so Comrade, we're in Nina Malia, and you can see I'm checking him out. I wasn't looking for requirements, I was looking for his fittings. Give you an idea where he's going to be tanked. That tells me he's probably shield tanked. But, yeah, do I change it? Okay, I do. EMP, so I assume because he has 3 mid slots and 2 lows that he's going to be shield tanked. Usually you can safely assume whichever one has the most slots is going to be the tanking. So a ship with more mid slots than low slots is going to be shield usually. A ship with more low than mid is going to be armor usually. And those are also, very rough estimates. So he's sitting here at the beacon. He's not running the site. He wants to PvP. He's a PvPer. Again, getting close. I was a little bit slow getting the guns on. I need to get... this is the one where it took me a while to realize I should be overloading that. I'm taking a good bit of damage because he's got a pretty nice tracking bonus. All the Tech 1 destroyers have good tracking bonuses. I overload the guns. It's a little bit later than I should have. I should have at the very beginning. There I go, finally overloading that. You can see he's got me into armor. Remember that I've got more structure than anything else, but about still, maybe a third, a little bit more than a third of my tank is in structure. Maybe, I don't know. But you see, as soon as I overloaded that tracking disruptor, he stopped hitting me. Absolutely stopped hitting me. And I'm going to go back and actually show you that again, because I think that's probably the most important thing here of this whole video. Is we go back and we see he's struggling. I'm through his shield, and then you can see he's hitting. So that's not him. Where's him? That's me hitting him, me hitting him. He missed me, neutron blaster. But he's going down fast, so even before I overloaded, I still had this fight won. I don't think I need to show you up close. I overload it, and I think he gets one more hit on me before he goes down. Boom, yet one more hit. And he's down. And now look at his reaction. Now this guy came into this fight. He knew I was coming at him. He chose this fight. He decided, this is a good fight. A FireTail? He said, a FireTail? Of course I'm going to beat a FireTail. And this Comrade built to kill frigates. He built that ship specifically to kill frigates in faction warfare. So this guy started the fight with too much confidence, over confident that he had the ability to win fights against frigates very easily. He was sure that he could win this fight, and therefore he stuck around. And like I've said in many of my other videos, one of the best things you can have going for you in this game is have people who want to fight you, not you want to fight them. And so whenever you can be in a position where you can get someone come and bring the fight to you and really want the fight, not to where you're having to chase the fight and force the fight, like if you're forcing it on a bubble or you're forcing it by getting a quick lock on a gate or something like that. If you have to force the fight, it's much harder to get. If people would just run up to you and start fighting, then that makes your job so much easier, especially if you're pretty confident you can win. And against a Catalyst, a Comrade, and that's another one I wanted to try, was the Thrasher. I think this ship's got it. I think this ship will win all of those fights. No tank on it, but just sheer small size, and you can't hit it. And that's all there is to it. And you can see what he says. He says, "How am I missing you on your face?" Which I guess he was trying to say, I'm right on top of you. How am I missing you? And I say, TD. He says, TD? And then I tell him what tracking disruptor, and he says he knows what a tracking disruptor is. So I don't know. He just didn't understand the way it works, or he thought that tracking disruptor wasn't enough. So he's saying, I'm on your face, which, okay. So he's saying that he's right on top of me is what he's saying. And I think maybe he doesn't understand that tracking disruptors can do both range and tracking speed is maybe what it is. And then, he continues to be kind of a little bit of an ass in local. So, he's like, whatever. I just, good fight, dude. I was trying to help you and explain it to you, but you decided to just kind of be not very friendly about it. And I would have explained it all to him had he been friendly and stuck around, but he just kind of got mad and said, no, you're webbed, you're cheating, basically. So that's what this ship will get you. People will not understand what's going on. Some people will, but the cool thing about it is it's going to take people by surprise. And whenever you can do that, that means fun and good PvP. So some of my basic warnings that I will give you at the end of this video is do not fight against ships that have drones. Especially drone bonus stuff. I fought against a Navy Maulus or something and got tore up several times with the same guy. Whenever I fought against Tristans, I had the footage somewhere. I lost it, I guess. But whenever I fought against Tristans, it was a hard fight. And I really wish I had that footage now, because I know I did. But against the Tristan, it was a hard fight, but I won with a little bit of margin there. So it was a pretty clear victory. So anytime there's going to be drones, it's going to be a harder fight for you. But so long as the fight happens within scram web range and it's mostly turret damage, if not all preferably all turret damage that your opponent has, you're going to most likely win that fight. And that's going to be a lot of fun. So tell me how you do with this ship, and let me know. I might go back to it and do some more videos in the future. But for right now, I think this kind of gets the idea across. It's a cool little fit for faction warfare. FireTail's pretty cheap. So it's a pretty cool ship.